So I'm going to say something bold here. Your self-doubt is sabotaging your business. And the solution isn't more strategy or more content or more hustle. It's mastering a daily self-coaching practice that transforms how you handle visibility fears, rejection, and slow traction. This self-coaching method that we're going to talk about today, it took me from consistently making 100K a year for over 20 years to making hundreds of thousands in the very first year that I applied this. It really is the internal mindset work that creates the external business results. So today I have with me Katie Pulsifer. We're going to be talking all about this. Katie, you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you for having me. Yes, I am a master certified coach and I do one-on-one coaching, and I'm the founder of the Golden Coaching Certification. And I love helping coaches hone their craft, build their confidence, and help their clients have more impactful results.
Oh, that's so awesome. Katie, I have to tell you, when I talk to so many coaches and I mention the word mindset, they say, well, that is not my issue. I only need strategy. I just need to know the how to. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, well, you just don't know. So could you share with me before we go too far into this, what does it really look like when somebody has a mindset issue that actually would be blocking their business growth? What is that?
Well, it often can show up as not recognizing how paralyzing fear might be. It might also be not seeing the limitations of their thinking and seeing, I get this one all the time, you probably do too. It's either option A or option B, and not remembering that there's probably 20 other possible ways that they could implement an offer or help a client with a particular dilemma. But their mind is locked. I've got to either do it this way or that way. And unfortunately, like we all do, we don't remember, oh, that's my mindset working against me. And it requires some attention and some cleaning up.
So, what about procrastination, which I
Mm.
find is like watching more trainings, doing more research, practicing longer, kind of procrastination, perfectionism? Those are a
Yeah.
couple of things that really trip people up.
Oh, definitely. And also waiting for that emotion of readiness,
Yeah,
that
getting ready.
elusive, like that emotion will land in my body and that will be the signal that I'm ready to go put my work in the world. And it just doesn't work that way. So that is a mindset barrier and block that a lot of new coaches need to overcome. It's like, no, I got to go put myself out there and then I'll catch up to that belief that I'm ready.
So, how does self coaching play a role in this when it comes to your business?
Well, I think it's the habit of spending time getting to know what that default programming is. Where do my thoughts tend to land each and every day? When things go well, when things are particularly challenging, what's my emotional state most days? Am I operating out of trepidation and worry? Or am I bringing excitement and generosity and intrigue into my days? And so, a self coaching practice, as simple as even 5 minutes, can help you understand like what's going on in this brain of mine, what's going on in this body of mine, and how is it influencing the results I'm creating every day.
I found early on the things that were just always coming up, which was the word how was like the
Yes.
roadblock of all roadblocks for me. And then I said, like a broken record, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. Of
Mhm.
course, I work full time in my business. That wasn't
Mhm.
true either. So it is interesting to find the things that are like your common
Mhm.
roadblocks.
Yes, mine is, oh, that's going to be too hard. It is in my brain every day, faster than I can even catch it. And I don't know it's there until I feel this like shutting down, this internal shutting down, like taking away an opportunity or an idea because my brain has decided it's going to be too hard. And it's like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I need to be on to myself and on the lookout for that because it's very self-limiting and often moves me away from the exact things that I want to do. Now I know I don't always catch the thought, but I at least recognize that feeling in my body when I'm shutting down to an idea.
Yeah, who knew feeling in your body had anything to do with this? I know visibility is
Mm,
something, and maybe it goes with they don't want to put themselves out there because they don't want to be judged, which is
mhm.
also that comparison thing. And I don't know, imposter syndrome, all of that is part of something that I think people don't recognize either.
Absolutely. And, when you're not challenging your thinking, our brains do what they do, which is run a little wild and take a potential threat and turn it into a massive catastrophe. So the fear that one person is going to see a typo or the one person is not going to like the one thing you said turns into everyone will be out to get me. Everyone won't like it. And that's where we have to be so attentive to our brains. Well, I like to say literally running away with a terrible thought and turning it into a catastrophe.
It's so funny. A coach, in fact, the first coach I hired when I went fully online, she said, if somebody actually makes a comment back to you, you should almost consider it like a negative comment. Like, for example, like, hey, you have a typo, or, you didn't do that very good, or who do you think you are, or something like that. She said, you should really consider it the highest compliment that somebody
Mm.
took their precious time and gave you a compliment like that. She reframed it. And I tell you, that served me so well because I was like, seriously, who's got time to send somebody an email and say, hey,
Yeah.
I just thought you should know that you had a spelling error?
Yes. Well, and also, gosh, someone saw it because so many times we put
Right.
these things into the world and we're like, did anyone notice? Did
Yeah.
anyone see it? Yes, the one person saw it. Thank you
Yeah.
for
Thank
pointing
you.
out the typo.
Thank you. Yes, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So, how do you support yourself through, like, what does self coaching do to support you?
Well, its fundamental basic premise, it is giving ourselves our own attention. And we often don't do that. We are thinking about our clients, we're thinking about our families, we're thinking about other people in our lives we're responsible for. But to sit down and give ourselves our own attention is a precious thing. To find out and be curious about what we're thinking and what we're feeling is such a gift because from that awareness, we can be selective about what we want to keep and we can be very discerning about what we want to change and influence to get the results that we want.
Katie, I find so many coaches that I work with that are not trained in the same main certification that you and I
Yes,
met through.
yes,
They
yes.
don't even know how to look, like, even notice a thought, how to find out if it's like running on autopilot. They don't know any feeling besides I'm happy or I'm worried. Like, there's two feelings. And look, I fell into that category too. People were like, how
Mm-hmm.
do you feel? And I'm like, fine. I feel good. It's like the list of emotions is so long. There's really a skill to even noticing what is wrong or what you're thinking or what you're even feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And also to learn how to do it with a level of curiosity and detachment in a way that we don't make ourselves wrong for having the thoughts and the emotional experiences that we have. We just want to know a little bit more about it so that we can be more selective and careful in what we choose going forward. I certainly was guilty of this in the beginning. It was like, oh, I don't want to know what I'm going to find inside of me. So I am not going to spend any time with my journal. And then you see it on paper and it's like, oh, no, thank you. But if we can develop a skill of detachment and just, okay, and my favorite way to do it is I'm a human being with these sentences in my brain today. That's all this is. That's just today. These are the sentences in my brain. Now, what do I want to do with that information? Then that gets interesting.
That sentences in your brain thing really is mind blowing because it's
Mm-hmm.
just a few words strung together. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like we make it mean so much. And also, somebody said to me through our training, like, isn't that interesting? That would just be
Yeah.
something you would say back to, what you discovered. Again, like with compassion instead of criticizing yourself, like, isn't that interesting? Like
Mm-hmm.
curiosity. I didn't even
Mm-hmm.
realize or notice that I was thinking that.
And it's so good that I found this.
Mhm.
So much more information now. I have choices to make now that I know that, as you said, these few words or this phrase or this sentence is in my brain. Now that I see it, I can do something about it. And the sentences aren't who we are, they're just a product of our brain doing the job that it does. So that kind of separation, I think, helps us have a lot more agency over the information we find.
So when you find these sentences, when you
Hmm.
start to really, I think it's not just be honest with yourself. I think you have to learn how to ask yourself quality questions so
Yes.
you can get something even out of yourself. And again, I think maybe just accepting that we all have kind of random, I don't want to say negative, but we have thoughts sometimes that aren't
Hmm.
serving us and that it's just the human condition. Once you notice those, then what?
Well, then it's a deliberate, okay, I want to keep this because of these reasons. I think it's really important to figure out why we might want to hold on to a particular belief or a thought that we have, or I don't want to believe this anymore because I can see how it's going to move me further away from the thing that I most want. If I come back to my example of, oh, that's going to be so hard, well, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now because I wouldn't have struck up a conversation or reached out and sent you an email. Anything that felt hard, I would have prevented myself from doing. So identifying the thought and then choosing, I really don't want to continue believing this because, and answering that sentence because it'll move me further away from what I truly want. Then we can decide what we want to replace that thought with. And we can start to say things to ourselves like, it's possible I won't
Yeah.
always believe this about myself. This is a temporary state that I'm in. Or I've just taught myself how to think this over and over again. It's not a problem because I can unlearn it as well. So, very supportive statements that we can say to ourselves that help us, as I like to say, break up with that thought.
That word "it's possible" was,
Hmm.
also
Mm.
I would say maybe one of the most pivotal things that I learned is like you could loosen up what you were thinking with one word. Like it's possible that that made me, I don't know, there was so much freedom with one word added to what
Mm.
I was thinking. Like it's not working. It's possible that it could
Hmm.
work.
Hmm. I love that as well. And temporary is the word for me that it brings me so much relief. It's like this emotion is temporary. This is the sentence in my brain just today. It's temporary. Like it gives me this sense that I'm not fixed. It's not always going to be like this, that today's experience won't last forever. And that really helps me see the possibility of things moving.
So daily self-coaching. I remember when I started doing that, like it took me
Mm.
forever. I was like
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was like an hour or something. It's like, I don't have time for this until I realized it was just a short practice that could be just a little bit of time. In fact, I had this kind of like get it down to
Mm.
5 minutes kind of thing.
Mm.
But also, I learned how to integrate it throughout my entire day. Can you talk a
Yes.
little bit about that?
Yes, I'm the same way. It's never feeling, I didn't like the rigidity of it's got to be a certain way every single day because I don't feel the same way every single day. So I love having my journal nearby. I love knowing that in between coaching calls, I can take a quick break to work something out. I do a lot of self-coaching on my walks. I don't know about you, but I find self-coaching and movement to be really effective. Sometimes I talk to myself out loud if I'm folding laundry and it's like, okay, what is this emotion that's in my body right now? Let's figure this out. Or why am I looping on this particular thought? What is this thought trying to teach me today? I just love questions like that. Instead of making myself wrong, it's like, okay, this is happening for a reason. I wonder why I'm thinking this. Why is this showing up? Why am I feeling this way? What's the lesson here? Who am I going to be tomorrow because I had this experience today? Those are all prompts that I love that can activate a 5-minute self coaching practice anytime.
You also mentioned coaching yourself between coaching sessions. This is,
Yeah.
again, something that I learned. And I would say a lot of people would say, I don't have time for that, or why do I need to do that? Can you
Mm.
share a little bit about why that is useful to coach yourself between sessions?
Well, I just think it's an important part of what I would call coach care in terms of I want my energy to be at its best. That doesn't mean it's high or activated energy, but I want my energy to be clean when I sit down on a Zoom call with a client. So, my job is to make sense of my energy prior to a session, which might mean jotting a few things about the way I feel, creating a mantra that I like to say in preparation of going into a session with a new client, reminding myself of how skilled and gifted I am. Because sometimes we have those sessions where we might feel a little wobbly or a little nervous for whatever reason. It's so important to energetically ground back into our coaching confidence. So, self-coaching in between sessions can serve a number of different purposes.
So, how would you recommend that somebody can figure out what questions would be the most useful questions? Let me just give you a couple of things that I see that come up, and how would somebody get to the bottom of this? One would be that they're afraid of putting themselves on social media.
Mhm. Yeah, so I mean, the easiest place to start is by asking ourselves why, and then answering that question, and then responding to that with a why, and then another why, and then another why, if possible, to just continue to peel back the layers of what that fear is really about. So that can be a great starting place.
Hey coaches, it's Debbie Shadid here. I've got something very special for you. If you're trying to figure out how to get coaching clients on your own and you're wondering what to post, how to explain what you do, or how to actually sell your coaching, this is for you. I'm inviting you to join me for a live edition of the Fast Track and VIP coaching experiences. This is your chance to stop spinning in indecision and finally take those actions that are needed to build a profitable coaching business. You'll get the answers, the guidance, the support you're looking for, plus real-time feedback on your niche, your offers, and your marketing. Spots are very limited and enrollment closes soon. Let's connect. DebbieShadid.com/schedule to claim your spot and to talk about your options. Let's get you clients faster and easier than you ever imagined. Well, and I think the fear could be different every day
Exactly.
because we have different thoughts every day.
Or the thing that we're about to post has a particular charge, or we're feeling obligated to do it, or we're feeling incredibly passionate and we want it to land well. We know someone just saw the last thing we posted, so we're thinking they're going to see this next. I mean, you're so right. Every day presents a different opportunity to even coach on the same topic.
And I have to tell you, I learned something from a client that was so valuable. She was really having a hard time getting on social media. And I teach people all the how, like
Mm,
hold your camera right here and edit it this
yeah.
way and say this. And we even were providing practicing opportunities, and she just could not do it. And every which way we worked around it. And what it finally, and this, I should back up and say, this woman was a teacher, an educator for 29
Mm,
years. So
oh, wow.
talking in front of people, I'm going to say with quotes, should not have been a problem. So I was like, I'm just really having a hard time figuring this out. What she finally discovered with an honest conversation with herself was when you hold the phone like this and you're looking at yourself, that was actually the hard part, which gave me the really understanding of like, what does that look like when I'm looking at myself? I had to think about the way I look at myself like this too, and what I am saying to myself.
Yes.
You're looking so closely only at yourself and you're like, oh, that looks not right. That, you see yourself so close. And for her, she
Mm,
could stand up in front of a classroom looking at the
mm,
people, but not at herself, which I thought
mm.
was an incredible insight.
Yeah. And so what an opportunity for her. I'm sure you guided her so flawlessly to like build trust with herself that she could be that close to herself and complete the task that she was there to do, which was to post on social media. Yeah. I'm glad that she shared that challenge with you because that was a coaching moment for her.
Well, yeah, and she'd been working for like 2 months to try to get on social media. And honestly, the other simple thing was when I said, wait a minute, you do realize that you're talking to people. Yes, your phone's like this and you're looking at yourself, but there's people like you're teaching, and you already have been teaching for 29 years
Mm,
in front of people. And she was like, oh, I said, the difference is you're looking at yourself instead of the classroom. It's still people looking at you
mm,
either way. And she was
mm,
like, yeah, it was just
mm,
interesting. That is the value of looking at the question of why am I not doing this? Why am I
mhm.
procrastinating? Why am I stalling?
And resisting, and I shouldn't be. Like, if we can withhold that judgy part of the sentence, which is going to pop into all of our brains at one time or another, but just stay in the why, the pure curiosity point, that's where the magic of self coaching can really kick in. And how you found with this particular client of yours, her answer, her reason, which is always going to be unique to her
Mhm.
and so important. But often we shut down the self-coaching because we are like, other people can do it. Why can't I? And then we go into such harsh critique and it doesn't help us move forward.
The sad shame is there are so many women, and that's who I coach. So that's who I'm going to talk about.
Me
But there's
too. Me
so
too.
many beautiful women. I don't mean
Hmm.
bodily, I mean like beautiful women who have such great work to do in the world that because they're not asking themselves some of these questions or exploring what's really going on, they actually quit before they ever start.
Yes. It breaks my heart because if what the world needs now more than
Yes.
ever is more coaches helping the population feel better, understand themselves more, create more empathy and compassion in the world, more love, more acceptance. And so anytime a woman wants to quit and give up because these are hard things to overcome. It just hurts. It hurts so much. And I want to help coaches figure out a way to stay in the game longer because there are so
Mhm.
many things to learn. Thank goodness you exist and you are teaching coaches how to build businesses in such an effective way. But unless they're willing to work on their mindset and their emotional regulation, strategy, like you said, can only go so far.
It is really sad when I have somebody who works with me, does all the work, gets their website set up, does
Mm,
everything, but they
mhm.
still end up at the other side and they're like, I don't know what's wrong. And it's like, oh Lord, you can see it, but somebody has to see it in themselves.
Yeah, and find a way to be curious about what it would look like to overcome those things. The same curiosity that got them to create a website out of nothing, it's that
Mhm.
same curiosity to explore belief systems and create brand new ones that don't exist yet within them. It's not too dissimilar. It's just a little bit different work that way.
Okay, I have a curveball to throw you here. What's going on in your head when you decide to start a coaching business? You compare yourself to somebody else, and all of a sudden you can do what they can do, but you forget everything that maybe goes into it.
Yeah, well, I think we all get captivated by that end result that we see. So I think that is so exciting. It's so promising. It's just like, ah, I know the thing I want, which feels amazing. And yet, many of us are terrible at delayed gratification. And we're terrible at doing the small, steady, boring steps to get there. And when we are not managing our minds and we're not coaching ourselves, we don't realize how much work that we need to do to get our minds right to stay in the game long enough to get there. We just think because I've declared the thing I want, I'm going to instantly get there. And It is a long, slow, steady, sometimes going backwards journey that we forget because we just want to get there as fast as possible.
Well, and then we just make ourselves like wrong and bad. And again, my story, like, what is wrong with
Mm,
me? I don't know. It's just an interesting situation that I find so common that
mm.
immediately think something we've done something wrong or we're not good enough because we didn't get there fast enough. And when somebody from the outside explains, like, do you know when she started her business? Because it was 14 years ago, they're like, oh,
Yeah, yeah. And I think, we often don't do a great job. We do a great job selling the destination and we don't do such a great job selling the journey. And that's what we all need to really realize. That's what we've signed up for. We think it's the destination, but it's the way of getting there. So the journey is all the strategy and tactics. It's all the things that don't work over and over again, the things that do work, the growth, the mindset work, the getting to know ourselves, trusting ourselves, going all in on ourselves. And if we could talk about that more, it's not as sexy as a sell, but that is really what we've signed up for when we decide to do this entrepreneurial journey for sure.
I think it's been for me the most beautiful growth journey. And our
Hmm.
clients, after they work with us, like they get to the end, they got their business all set up. It's always the end conclusion of like, wow, like
Yeah.
I have changed so much. That's
Yes.
the answer. Yes, they got a business built, but they're like, I didn't know I was going to become this too, which is, you're right. Nobody wants to buy that. They want to buy the process to getting clients, not that part. But it
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
really incredible the growth that you have.
But if you remember when we went through certification as well, it was like I heard it over and over again. It's like, what was the best part about getting certified to coach other people? It was like my internal transformation. And I'd
Yeah.
say it's the same thing with building a business. What's the best part about building a business? For sure, it's helping all of the clients I've helped, but I am not the same person that I was 2 years ago. And I'm so glad about that. I am
Mhm.
so glad to continue to see myself grow and evolve and fail and get back up again and care less about what other people think. The longer I do this and the more I put my work in the world, I'm just like shedding all of these layers of things that I carried for decades. So,
It is really truly empowering. And you feel like, you know what? If I can do this, I can do anything. So,
yes.
mm.
Yeah.
Well, let's do a recap here and just talk about clearly for somebody listening, what does it really look like for somebody to do self-coaching? Can you give them some tips? So, everybody's here for strategy. Can you give us some meat here to hold on to of what we would do to self-coach ourselves? What are the actions?
Yeah, so I did create a guide too for your listeners to break it down and make it really simple for them. But usually it's sitting with a journal. And if you can't, taking yourself out on a walk is absolutely
Yeah.
fine. But coming up with a prompt, something really simple. And it can be, what am I thinking right now? Or what am I feeling? Or why am I doing this particular thing? Or why am I not doing this particular thing that I want to do? Simple questions like that are going to get at some information about what is going on internally. And if you're willing to sit and write and be curious about that question, you will reveal to yourself insights about what's going on. From there, you get to look at, what did you just reveal? What is that teaching you, showing you? What did you not know before you sat down to write about it? How can you be with what you learned with as much compassion and non-judgment as possible so that you can decide what to do next? So it's really simple. What's going on? What am I learning from what's going on? And what do I want to do next with the information that I now have? It might mean activate a new feeling. It might mean work on a new belief system. It might mean, hey, I'm doing pretty awesome. I love this thought. I'm going to keep this for the rest of the day. It's not all diagnosing challenges or dilemmas. Sometimes self-coaching helps us reveal and cement the things that we are doing really, really well.
Okay. I got one more final big question here.
Yeah.
Is there always an answer to why you don't want to do something? So let me give you a perfect example. Since I am the action coach who's getting people going on building their business, sometimes I'll get a question of like, I just don't want to build my website. Like, I just don't want to do it. And I'm coaching myself around this. I'm trying to figure out why. And sometimes I'll just think to myself and say out loud, okay, well, the thing is, you might not ever want to do it. And yet, if you want to have a business, we just have to decide. Maybe there is no really dark thing you can pull out of there through self coaching of why do I not want to do this thing? What is your thought about that?
Well, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It doesn't mean it's always dark. Sometimes it's just, oh, I'm a person that really doesn't like to do things that I don't want to do. That's really good to know. Like, if I don't want to do it, I won't do it. And oh, that shows up with the website. Oh, that shows up with cleaning up the yard after the leaves fall. Whatever the things are, it's like, oh, yeah, that's my go-to. That's interesting. Do I want to be a person that every time I don't want to do it, I don't do it? Or do I just want to know that about myself and then go do it anyway? There's still so many angles to approach that.
Yeah, it is interesting because sometimes we do like just try to discover so much of it. And you're right. If you knew that I don't like to do those kind of things, then you do have some options. Either decide that you're going to do it anyway, because the ultimate goal, your ultimate desire is to have this thing and you're the one, or else hire somebody to do it for you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think we can gamify it a bit too. It's like, oh, yeah, I want to get better at doing things I don't want to do just because I wonder who I'll become. I
Yes.
wonder how that will set me up better in my future, becoming someone who does things that they don't want to do. There's probably some payoff that I can't even imagine yet. The way I just talked to you about that, I do that to myself all the time. It's like I try and create some mystery and wonder and excitement about overcoming a negative belief system to just see if I can activate something different inside of me.
Oh, that's fun. So, what are we missing here? Or what would you like to highlight that we should know about self coaching and the transformative power, other than the fact that it changed my life, my business? I can
Mm,
serve so many more people because
mm.
I got over that hurdle and learned the power of self coaching. What would you like to contribute to that and let people really know, or something that we've missed?
Well, I don't think you can build a coaching business without self-coaching. I really don't. So the sooner you embrace the idea that's part of your CEO strategy, the better. It's a non-negotiable that is going to get you to your desired business goals faster. Self-coaching also doesn't need to be complicated. 5 minutes a day, however you want, whenever you want. You don't need a fancy planner or a fancy journal or the magic pen or any of the things that we tell ourselves. You don't have to start on a Monday or on the first of the month. It's like you could do it as soon as you listen to this podcast. You could sit down and find out what is going on internally so that you understand the impact of that on your business. And the faster you are willing to jump in, the greater results you'll see in your business, hands down. It's true for me too.
Yeah, so good, Katie. I know you have a freebie for us, which you can tell us how to get that, or I will link it in the show notes. I would love to hear in the comments, though, from you guys, what is coming up for you? Are you self coaching? Yes or no? That would be fun to know. And if you're willing to share, what's a thought that you uncovered that you really realized, like the example I gave, which is, I don't have enough time. And you said it's too hard. Like those are two
Mm-hmm.
big game changers to know that those are go to responses. So good. Okay. How do you help women? Is it on a one to one basis through like maybe even learning how to do this?
Oh, yes. I love coaching one-on-one, and most of my clients are coaches who are trying to develop their own self-coaching practice, develop a more compassionate, loving, kind relationship with themselves because Let's face it, we coaches, we need to be solid and strong with ourselves so that we can put ourselves out in the world and offer our services to others. It takes a lot of tries, as we've discussed, a lot of seeing what works and confronting visibility and putting yourself out there. So starting with a solid core foundation is really important. And I also help people deepen their coaching skills, troubleshoot client scenarios and situations. So we workshop all sorts of things together.
So good. Well, I want to challenge everybody listening to do this, to just even today, like Katie said, you don't have to sit down and ask all the questions in one sitting. You could just ask yourself one question right now. And even Katie, you were saying go on a walk. For me, that's been very useful too. Like not listen to anything, not have anything else going on, and just go think and breathe and be out there away and think, why am I making this so hard? Or why am I not doing what I already know that I could do? Or why am I not deciding on a niche?
Or what do I get from staying the same way? Or what do I get from not pushing myself to take the next step? Or why does this feel like the safest decision? I've filled this freebie I've created with all kinds of prompts that will hopefully help come at self-coaching topics from some new angles for your listeners too.
Okay, I'm so excited. Do you have a link that you can tell us for anybody that's listening what it would be?
Yes, it is katiepulsifercoaching.com/self-coaching.
That is so beautiful. I will put the link in the show notes and in the comments and everywhere else so that you can connect with Katie, but you can also get this beautiful gift. I know I'm excited to explore this because once you discover that you're just a few questions away from potentially the business that you deeply desire to build, a few questions could literally change everything. And then just working on just a little tiny bit every day, it just becomes an automatic habit. I feel like I coach myself all day long, as I'm sure you do too.
Yes, and that's such a great point to remind everyone of, is that the deliberate sitting down with a pen for 5 minutes ends up translating into lots of self-coaching moments all day long that you don't even realize are happening, but you've just built the skill of evaluating yourself in a really effective way.
There's nothing more fun than being in the middle of a conversation with somebody and you're like, oh, I don't want to think that. Let's like stop thinking that. And I'm going to choose to think this. There's just so many scenarios. It's a beautiful gift. I really want to encourage you not only to get the freebie, it's not weak to say that you need to coach yourself. It shows that you really want to better yourself and make a bigger difference in the world. People say, oh, I don't need self-coaching. I work with a lot of therapists, a lot of counselors, and they say, oh, I have that handled. And it's like, well, yes and no. I want you to claim the power of saying, I'm going to do some work on myself, and nobody needs to even know it.
And I think the important thing to remember too is that it also is the opportunity to reinforce what's going well. So it doesn't need to feel like it's this heavy thing. I'm only commenting on that because sometimes I think people say, I'm going to work on myself, feels like already this business building is such a heavy lift, and now I've got to go work on myself too. And it's like, oh no, I don't want to miss a moment of all of the things I'm proud of. We can do that in our self-coaching. All of the ways that I'm growing, all of the ways that I'm showing up, even when I'm afraid. I want to know what motivates me. I want to know what excites me. I want to know what I'm thinking that's getting me the results I want. Like that can just be a beautiful way to approach self-coaching too.
I love that. If you are a woman over 50, I know that you are at a point in your life where you're saying, like, not only do I want this beautiful business and I want to make a difference, but I also know that you want to just become more yourself. And this is an invitation for you to do that because it's really incredible to take the time to learn this skill and to give yourself the gift of seeing something in yourself you weren't even looking for. So, Katie, thank you so much for being here. You guys, please subscribe, follow along. I'm having Katie back very soon. We're going to be talking about something else fun to do with coaching. So again, thank you, Katie.
Thank you. What a pleasure to be with you.
All right. You guys have a beautiful week. We'll see you in the next video.